As the sun was setting 2 Shabbats ago, I received a text from my friend Dan. Dan is a close friend from my time in Park City, Utah. And the first time I spoke with him, he said, "We are going to be friends." Nobody had ever said that to me at a first conversation. I remember being startled by the immediacy of that moment. It had an emotional openness and lack of self-protection. He spoke it with a laugh. There was no testing, no distance, no irony, and over time, I came to learn where Dan learned to love so openly. He was a Deadhead, a lover of the Grateful Dead. The text said, "My heart hurts. Bob Weir died." I'll get there. "I think my heart pain," he wrote, "is because everybody is reading the news. Wow, it was the best of times sharing space in our hearts and on the dance floor." Bob Weir was the last member of the Grateful Dead still actively playing Grateful Dead music. Let's think, they formed in '66, so that'd be 59 years of making music. That's not bad. And I cried. I have been a drug-free Deadhead for many years, but the music and culture have never left me. They shaped me at a formative age, long before I knew much of anything about Judaism. And there's much that I admire about Dead culture and much that we can learn from it. Deadheads greet one another with hugs. They say "I love you" easily and without embarrassment to people they don't even know. They interrupt their dancing at shows for spontaneous group embraces. I don't underestimate how much these simple gestures matter. Small, embodied acts of kindness, touch and warmth, attention make life more humane. Be kind isn't just a slogan in that world, it's a practiced ethic. And practicing kindness changes the atmosphere we live in. It softens strangers into companions and turns fleeting encounters into moments of genuine connection. Those small acts, repeated, make the world more bearable and more beautiful. It's easy to dismiss this as sentimentality, but Jewish tradition takes such embodied kindness with profound seriousness. A teaching from Ben Azai sharpens this insight even further when Rabbi Akiva calls love your neighbor as yourself the great principle of Torah. Ben Azai responds that there is even a greater one. This is the book of the generations of Adam. Confusing, but in other words, our obligation to love does not rest on shared values or shared music. It rests on something more profound. Every human being was created in the image of God. We all go back to the same source. Ben Azai is worried that love your neighbor can be misunderstood. If love depends on similarity, it will always have limits. But if love is grounded in shared humanity, then it cannot be withdrawn when difference appears. And that insight helps explain what Dead culture models so well. The hugs, the easy "I love you," the radical kindness are not reserved for people you know well. They flow from the assumption that every person in front of you matters simply because they're human. Love in this sense is a broad, inclusive way of life. A Hasidic teaching by Reb Nachum of Chernobyl deepens this even further. He taught that every human being is a microcosm, a physical embodiment of a vast spiritual form that exists above. We all have the whole universe in us. If God is everything, of course we do. Our bodies are not separate from the divine world. They are its earthly expression. The qualities of that higher spiritual form descend link by link until they take shape in us. And because of that, we can manifest holiness through physical action. When we use our bodies to act with chesed, loving kindness, we're not merely being nice, we're giving concrete form to God's mercy in the world. And this is a radical claim. It means that spirituality does not live only in thought or intention, it lives in action. A hug can be a theological act. Dancing together can become a form of prayer. When we perform small acts of kindness, we awaken a spiritual reality that has been present but dormant. We make God's love visible, tangible, and real. A kind word is a willingness to say, you matter. It's not a minor gesture. It's the means by which divine compassion enters the world. Redemption, Reb Nachum teaches, does not arrive all at once. It unfolds slowly through countless ordinary acts of love. The teaching that each kind thing that you do may be in a way the last kind thing. Not in the sense that you're going to die, in the sense of it may be the one that redeems the world. The world is not healed by grand declarations alone, but by repeated embodied mercy. What looks small to us, in fact, how the world is in fact how the world is healed, one human interaction at a time. There's a Hasidic tradition of taking an everyday melody and using it for prayer, transforming the ordinary into the holy. It lifts the earthly towards heaven. And I'll just say that's a preview of coming attractions. We're going to do that for our closing melody. Leave that as a surprise what melody we do. Everybody's like, oh, what is he going to sneak on us? It lifts the earthly towards heaven. And I experienced this once while praying with a Hasidic group on Shabbat, singing a 16th century religious poem to the melody of La Marseillaise, the French national anthem. So a song born of political crisis and written as a call to arms, but ultimately the melody remained the same, and its purpose was transformed. What once summoned violence now carried a longing for God. So the last time that I saw Bob Weir perform was with one of his solo setups, the Wolf Brothers in Salt Lake City. And they played a particularly slow and beautiful version of Peggy-O, which is a 16th century Scottish folk tune that Jerry Garcia helped bring back to life. I was dancing in the back near the Spinners. The Spinners are deadheads who slowly turn through the songs like Sufi dervishes. They're really the ones who very much treat the dead like a religion and take it very seriously. They call that spinning devotion. When the song ended, Dan's friends, who I barely knew, who had been doing this together since the early 90s, formed a circle and shared a group hug. And I asked if I could join, and of course they said yes, and I was welcomed without question, and another old melody was lifted towards heaven. So what was so powerful about the Grateful Dead? Why did their music open my narrow heart and so many narrow hearts? Why did it show me a different way of being a human being? And the answer is simple. They taught me how to love everyone. And Judaism teaches this too. As Bereshit Rabbah puts it, beloved is the human being, for they were created in the image of God. And I did not know much about Judaism at the age of 17, but I did know about the Grateful Dead. And somehow through music and movement and kindness, I was already learning Torah. So fare you well, fare you well. I love you more than words can tell. Listen to the river sing sweet songs to rock my soul. Fare thee well, Bobby Weir.